G'day guys and welcome back to the channel. Today I'll be doing my tips for round 19 of the season and we'll have a bit of a look to see where we're at on the table. We'll like to look at the top because Langs is up by 1 at this point in time. He has kept his lead for most of the season, which is quite remarkable. I've gone a few Hail Mary upsets and fallen off a cliff a little bit. Doing a bit of a deeper dive into the numbers, and it's quite concerning. I have not got 6 or more than 5 since round 11, so I'm going amazingly. Must be worth mentioning some buy rounds in there as well. But yeah, anyway, it's been pretty rough. But yeah, that's when you're a long way back, you have to take more risks, and yeah, it hasn't been too great. But anyway, if anything, I hope you guys enjoy me not go well. At least there's a bit of a consolation to it. Let's have a bit of a look at this week. We've got Essendon hosting Adelaide. This one's Friday night under the lid. This will be interesting. The Crows, how did they go last week? They had a pretty solid win over the Saints in crummy conditions. Bombers went down to the D's in a very disappointing loss. I think they're, a bit like St Kilda. They love the dry conditions and play very well under the roof. At home, I expect Essendon to get the win here. So I'll go Essendon by, 19 points. I think they'll be able to get the job done over the Crows, especially with no Rankin. I thought Rankin out was going to be massive for the Saints, but apparently wasn't good enough. And especially once the conditions really turned in, the Saints went away from it. And speaking of the Devils, here we are. We've got the Saints who are hosting the Eagles. This one will be at Marvel Stadium. The Saints, went down to the Crows, and Eagles were pretty brave against the Lions, but weren't able to bring home the 4 points. With Jared Schofield taking over as coach, I am leaning towards the Saints on this one. They should be good enough to get the W, although they're not travelling amazingly well. Eagles, we'll definitely give them, it'll be a close game, and I'm sure it'll be a slog. Over to GWS and Gold Coast. So this one's going to be at NG Stadium. We know what Gold Coast can do at home. We know what they can't do away from home. Giants just win automatically, home ground. Over to the MCG, we've got Hawthorn. Just a bit of a, sorry, I summarised everyone else, but I didn't summarise these guys. The Giants had a win over the Tigers at the MCG. Gold Coast, a pretty solid win over Port Adelaide, who were pretty poor, to be fair. All right, now I love giving them some love there. Hawthorn and Collingwood face off at the MCG and talk about big games. This is definitely one of those. The Hawks, they had a very remarkable win over the Dockers in Launceston, which is a bit of a fortress at the moment. Collingwood went down to the Cats by 20 at the MCG in the week prior. I think McStay might come back. We'll see what Mason Cox looks like in terms of being able to get back into the side. But it was pretty close earlier in the year in Gather Round. Hawthorn could have won it late. They missed the opportunity, but they had the chance to win the game. It was in their hands and it was out of Collingwood's control effectively. I think they've definitely bounced since then in a big way. I reckon they'll be beating the Pies and almost couldn't knock them out completely. Over to Adelaide, we've got Port Adelaide hosting Richmond. Richmond pretty competitive against the Giants. They had more scoring shots, so that was quite, plenty more inside 50. So field position-wise, they did really well. Port Adelaide, they weren't too crash hot against the Gold Coast Suns. Definitely a danger game because they did do it over Adelaide earlier in the season. But I think, Port Adelaide, too strong at home. The better side out of the two South Australian sides as it stands. If we look at the ladder, that would suggest that is the case. 9th versus 14th in terms of where Adelaide are at. Saturday night at the Cattery, big game. We've got Geelong and the Western Bulldogs here. Gosh, what a crazy game this will be. Doggies were a little bit disappointing the other week, but they responded. They came back in a big way, defeating the Blues, who are going through a little bit of a patch at the moment. They've lost a couple. And Geelong have won 3 in a row, getting back on track, and a 20-point win over the Pies, which was good to see at the MCG. I'll go Geelong. I believe it's 17-5 the last 22 times they've played. They, outside of the win at GMHBA last year, which was against our reserve side, when we were resting everyone for getting ready for the off-season. They wouldn't have won down there too often. Maybe 2003 might have been the last time before that. So I think, Geelong finding their groove should be too good. But I suspect it'll be a tug of war and very tough to watch at times. So please be nice and dry conditions. Not a good chance in the middle of winter. Over to the Gabatoir, we have Brisbane hosting the Sydney Swans, and what have we got here? Brisbane, they're absolutely humming along nicely. They've very silently got back into the top 4 after there was questions about whether they would even be close to making the 8, but they've been in amazing form. Sydney have lost 2 of their last 3. They had a nice win over North Melbourne at the SCG, but have had some cracks show up at times. I'm going to go Brisbane at home. It was close last year when they played there, but I think this was one of the games I had penciled in that Sydney would lose if they weren't going to lose any other games. And Brisbane at home is very tough, and they're in amazing form. I reckon they'll be able to get the Swans. Then we go to Optus Stadium. We have Fremantle hosting Melbourne. Melbourne with a pretty brave win over the Essendon Bombers. Fremantle went down to the Hawks, but I reckon they'll be able to bounce back here. They're pretty tough to beat at home. Their record against Melbourne's pretty good, so I like my odds with going Fremantle there. And then the final game of the round we have is Carlton up against North Melbourne. The Blues, they went down to the Dogs last week. Yes, not good enough. And then North Melbourne got a bit of a reality check against Sydney side away from home. Very tough to beat Sydney away from home, or anywhere really. But I reckon the Blues will get their key forwards in good stead and be able to get a big score on the board. All right, let's chuck those in. I think I've gone the home side for every single game. That is a rarity. I've gone Essendon, St Kilda, GWS, Hawthorn, Port Adelaide, Geelong, Brisbane, Fremantle, and Carlton to round out round 19. So those are my tips for this week, guys. Chuck who you think's going to win in the comments below. Get amongst the tipping competition if you want. I'll have the link in the description below. Give the video a like, subscribe if you want to see how badly I'm doing every week. Hopefully we can respond this week. I've been saying that for about 8 or 9 weeks. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and I'll catch you on the next video.